Hello, and welcome to 10 tips, tricks, and mods that make the Elder Scrolls Online more enjoyable. This will definitely help people who are trying to get into ESO, and hopefully veterans might learn of some new add-ons that they can try. ESO is a very massive game, and it's quite impressive. It's probably the largest MMO that I've ever played, and the mechanics can work quite differently from any other MMO out there. Because of the scale of ESO and the things that it does differently from other MMOs, you can get a bit lost when you're first getting into it. I didn't actually fully get into it until recently, but I have actually been playing it for, well, since the beta. Including the beta, there have been 3 separate occasions where I tried to get into this game and failed. Whether it be from the seemingly unintuitive questing system or the graphical and performance issues, there was always something holding me back from fully getting immersed in this game. Whether you feel the same way as me and you wish to improve your game, or you haven't played ESO at all and wish to get started on the right foot, follow along with me and this guide may help you. Before we get into the good stuff, we need to talk about how we're going to be installing any mods that we talk about in this video. We're going to use popular add-on manager Minion to manage all of our add-ons. I'll link to it in the description. Not only does it make installing these add-ons really easy, but it also keeps them up to date, assuming the program is open, which you'll always want to do because unlike with Skyrim, ESO is an online game, therefore it's constantly updated. And when it updates, it can cause your add-ons to not function properly. So instead of manually updating your add-ons whenever a little patch comes out, just get Minion, let it take care of that for you. When installing add-ons through Minion, make sure you read their requirements, because oftentimes they require some libraries, which are basically frameworks that other mods can run on. Your add-ons won't work properly, if at all, if you don't have their requirements installed. And with that, I present you tip number 1. This also relates to add-ons. You'll want to go into the add-on menu when you open the game and click the little checkbox next to allow out-of-date add-ons. Whatever detects what plugins are outdated isn't always accurate, and a lot of times it can disable your add-ons that would work perfectly fine otherwise. Keep in mind, this box will untick itself every time there is a major expansion released. This is to prevent maybe add-ons causing crashes. So remember to come in here and tick it whenever there's a large update. Next up, we have some navigation tips regarding the world map as well as the questing system. So first off, we'll start out with trying to figure out where exactly we are. So we'll open the world map with M and we get our map with all the little map icons. And then to figure out where we're currently at, we just look up at the top left and we see the city that we're in, and if we zoom out from there with right click, we can see the region we're in. And then if we zoom out again, we just see the entirety of Tamriel. Now when we hover over a region, in the middle top it'll say the name of the region, and then if we click in on Deshaun here, we can see all the various activities that there are to do in Deshaun, as well as the map completion guide off to the left. If you hover over the map completion guide, it shows you all the different activities there are to do, as well as which ones you have already completed. Working towards completing a region, or a zone as it's called in this game, will net you various rewards, so try to pick a region and stick with it. So that's how you navigate the map, but what happens when you're on a quest and you don't know where to go for that quest? Well, you just open your quest journal by pressing J, and then you right click on the quest that you want to locate, and you click show on map. This will bring up the map and put you right where you need to go. And then if it's zoomed in too far to tell where you are, you just keep right clicking to zoom out step by step until you know where to go. This is a much better method to find out where you need to go rather than simply opening up the map and manually looking around for it. And the reason for this is quest markers can be pretty janky if you're currently positioned within city bounds or any small subzone. You might be tempted to look for quests by using the quest tab on the panel to the right, but this isn't recommended because it only shows quests that are in the current zone or subzone that you're looking at. For the third entry in this video, we're going to go over a group of add-ons that all do similar things, and that is add map markers to the game. The three essential plugins that do this are Sky Shards, Lorebooks, and Quest Map, although Quest Map is reliant on a depreciated library right now, so you can't actually use it without crashing your game. But once Quest Map gets an update, I would recommend downloading it because it's really great. It marks quest starting locations for all quests that you haven't done yet. As someone that likes to pick up all quests that I come across, it's very useful for me. And it assures that I don't miss any while I'm out adventuring. Sky Shards and Lorebooks do what their names imply. Sky Shards marks Sky Shards on your map, and Lorebooks marks Lorebooks on your map. Sky Shards and Lorebooks are more than just collectibles. Sky Shards actually give you skill points, and Lorebooks level up your Mage's Guild status. So get these add-ons, you don't want to miss Sky Shards or Lorebooks. Now for our fourth list item, we have a group of add-ons that are going to overhaul the user interface. The first and largest of these is Bandits UI, which is a new HUD interface, and it is highly customizable. I do not like the look of this or any of the presets out of the box, but after tweaking it to my liking, I now love it. You might be able to tell why I got it right off the bat. During combat, it shows active effects on both you and your enemy, which is really great. It also, down at the bottom right corner, shows your passives. This is a feature that has been common in MMOs for a very long time, and why ESO doesn't have it, I don't know. But thanks to ESO's UI modding capabilities, you can have it now. This information is very helpful in PvE, so I can't imagine how helpful it's going to be when I finally do get into PvP. You might also notice another major thing that's up with the HUD. Look at the top right. That's a minimap, folks. Yes, Bandits UI adds a customizable minimap, and let me tell you, navigating the game and completing zone objectives with the minimap makes the game so much more enjoyable and allows you to learn your surroundings a lot faster. The last little thing you might notice about it is when I'm aiming at an enemy, next to my crosshair there's a little gauge. That's that enemy's resistance to my attacks. That's also very helpful to know. As I said earlier, Bandits UI is incredibly customizable, and it has its own menu panel with basically all the settings you can ever think of. It's worth taking the time going through these settings and learning some of them so you can set up your UI to your liking. But if you like the way I have mine set up, look in the description for my exact settings. As a bonus unrelated to the HUD, there's also a hidden setting in here that allows you to hide house previews on your world map, which is very nice because those icons are very big and they can just clutter everything up. For our next add-on in this group, you might have noticed the experience bar at the top left of the screen. The mod that does this is called Slightly Improved Experience Bar. It puts numbers showing details about the experience bar on the experience bar, and it also allows you to never hide it so that it's always open even when you're not in the menus. Those last two mods helped with the HUD, but the next two mods are going to help with inventory management. One of the biggest problems with the UI in ESO is that the inventory and shop menus are displayed in list form. This isn't ideal considering the amount of items that are in the game and how much inventory management you're going to be doing. Most MMOs use a grid system so that you can see more items on screen at once. Grid inventory brings this system to ESO, and it makes managing your inventory in general a whole lot easier. But there's still room for one last improvement. Inventory sorting in ESO is limited to these categories you see up in this row. Now they're fine, I guess, but they don't really get deep enough. Advanced filters is an add-on that adds a whole nother row of filters. Say you need to clear up inventory space and your current focus in crafting is enchanting. Advanced filters allows you to drill down into the categories that aren't enchanting and delete stuff from those, instead of manually looking through all of your crafting materials at once. Sorting things out in this way is also great for new players looking to get a good grasp on the crafting system. It also adds subcategories for all the other main categories as well, not just crafting. Now that we have our UI overhauled, it's time to overhaul the graphics a bit. ESO's color palette has always seemed a bit lifeless to me. So first things first, let's be good PC players and do a reshade. This is a custom reshade that I made based on somebody else's. So I'm not really sure if I'm allowed to share it, but if you look up reshades on Nexus Mods or ESOUI.com, you're sure to find a ton. Just pick one that you like and we can move on to the next step. If you're looking for a recommendation, while it's not the one I use, ESO Graphics Extender looks really nice. Be warned though, Reshade is a third-party application that hooks into the game, and therefore some games can see it as a cheating program. ESO has a long history with reshades being available for the game game pretty much on launch. And there have been ZeniMax employees go on record saying that the use of RESHADE is acceptable, but more recently there have been some say that it's not. RESHADE disables its depth buffer access when running on ESO to prevent you from getting banned. Depth buffer access could allow for things like disabling walls, so obviously something that could do that would normally get picked up as a hack. But because that functionality is disabled when you put RESHADE on ESO, you shouldn't have a problem with it, since it basically acts as just another overlay, such as your Steam overlay. It's a little more advanced than that, but we've already gotten too technical, so let's bring it back. Basically, what I'm saying is, if you choose to use a RESHADE and get banned for it, even though I'm not aware of anyone who ever has, I do not take responsibility. Moving on from there, we have Votan's adaptive settings and Votan's advanced settings. Adaptive settings scales your particle effects and draw distance with your current FPS to try and reach a target FPS. For example, I have set my target at 60 FPS, so if I'm well above 60 FPS, it will increase draw distance and particle effects to their max values without dropping me below 60 FPS. If I'm running below 60 FPS, it will decrease the particle effects and draw distance until I'm up to 60 FPS. Before this add-on, I would play at the lowest view distance all the time, because whenever I would go into a city, I would drop below 60 if I didn't. This add-on's great because it allows me to keep my FPS and have the game look as good as possible on my computer at all times. The advanced settings add-on, on the other hand, allows you to access settings that normally you could only access by text editing the INI files. For a good starting point, you can copy the settings that I have here. Just change your frame rate limit from 144 to whatever the refresh rate of your monitor is to prevent tearing. Another setting you might want to look at is the GPU smoothing frames. When it's set to 0 instead of the default of 10, it can reduce latency, but at the cost of the frames being more jittery. If, however, you have a computer so good that there's hardly ever any fluctuations in FPS when you're playing ESO, then you won't have any jitter anyway. So in layman's terms, if you're gaming on a potato, you might want to keep this at 10. But if you have a beast, then you need to probably try setting this to 0 and seeing if that helps latency at all. Up next, we should cover the daily routine in ESO. These are the simple things you should do every day when you log on. First, just like any other MMO, you should claim your daily reward, and you can do that just by clicking the button when you first log into the game. Most of the time, daily rewards just give you very helpful consumables, but on rare occasions, ZeniMax has given away mounts, pets, or even full DLC in the daily rewards. The next thing you'll want to do is train your writing skill. Unlike most skills in ESO, writing does not level up the more you do it. Instead, you have to go to a stable master and pay 250 gold to increase one level in any of the 3 different types of writing skills. You can only train once every 24 hours, and that's why this should be part of your routine. Writing skills include speed, stamina, and carry capacity. While speed can help you get around the world a lot faster, and stamina can help you out in PvP by raising your hit tolerance before you get knocked off, I personally think you should max out carry capacity before putting any points into the other skills. This is because it doesn't just increase your inventory capacity when you're writing, it also increases it while you're doing anything else. And as I mentioned earlier, inventory management can be a pain in this game just because of the amount of items that there are, so having more inventory space is always a good thing. The last daily thing you should do is check your research at your crafting stations. You always want to have research going if possible. Researching an item destroys it in order to obtain its trait, which you can later use to apply to other weapons. The more research you've done in a particular category, the longer it will take future traits to research. So if you're like me and you want to obtain all of them, it can take a long time. So just always check every day and make sure you always have something being researched. I'm not the type that likes doing daily quests, but you could also make daily quests part of your routine too. They can be pretty rewarding in ESO. At number 7, I'm going to come back to the whole inventory management thing one more time. So it's easy to increase your bank space. You can do that directly at a bank. But how do you increase your inventory space beyond what you get from the writing skill? Well, you just find an NPC called a pack merchant, and these are located in cities throughout the game. Anyway, you can talk to one and and pay him some gold, and you can get some more inventory space. It's as simple as that. Speaking of items, at number 8, we have guild marketplaces. ESO does not have a global marketplace like some other MMOs. Instead, it has guild marketplaces. Guilds can essentially gain control of NPCs in the world called guild traders. Each guild trader is its own marketplace where only members of the controlling guild have the ability to list items. You don't have to be a member of the controlling guild to buy items though. So I have 2 tips for you in regards to these guild marketplaces. 1, you're going to want to join at least one trading guild who owns a trade NPC. This is so that you're not stuck selling your items to regular shopkeep NPCs for low value. Trade guilds are often very open, but sometimes they require you to deposit gold every month in order to stay in them, but a lot of the times they don't, so you should be able to find one that suits your needs. My second tip is that because ESO does not have a global marketplace, if you check one guild trader for an item that you're looking for and they don't have it, just go to another city and look at another guild trader. Eventually, you might just be able to find what you're looking for. Guild shops of guilds that you're in can be accessed either through your guild's trader NPC or through a bank. So now that that's out of the way, let's get into number 9, which is talking about fashion and the outfit system. Most MMOs have a 1 or 2 stage outfit system. However, ESO has a 4 stage outfit system, which can be a little confusing to grasp. Layer 1, or the bottom layer, is just the items that you find in the world and equip. The second layer is your outfit that you make at an outfit station. The third layer are your costumes, which you can find in your collections tab. And the fourth layer are disguises, which take up an item slot and can be equipped over everything else to blend in with NPCs and maybe have them not notice you. For the last tip, I'd like to share how to enjoy quests with other people. For a while, I was of the belief that questing in ESO was mainly meant for solo play, and that zone completion and PvP were the main ways to enjoy it with other players. That is until I discovered that there are certain quests in the game that have this little group icon next to them, and these are group quests that are meant to play in a group. And also on top of that, I discovered that you can actually share these quests or any other quests with your friends or group members. To do so, you just right click on a quest in your quest journal and click share quest. This will give the quest to those that you're playing with if they're able to accept it. If not, you'll get a message up at the top right saying that you can't share the quest with them. In these cases, you can look up the quest online and find out what the prerequisite quests are. If your group member completes the prerequisites, they should be able to join. But in my case here, I just kept going down the list of quests until I got one that my friend could join. That's all for this video. I hope some of these tips and tricks and mods helped you. If they did, you can leave a like on the video, and if not, you know what to do. You can also get subbed to see more Elder Scrolls content or many other games. I hope to see you around in the future. Peace.